I used to feel really frustrated when I was learning piano, when my teacher would ask me if I had learned the piece left hand alone, then right hand alone, and then together. And it frustrated me because it didn't make any sense. I figured if I actually did left hand alone and then I actually did right hand alone, which I did, and then tried to put it together, it should work perfectly every time, right? But what I found is that I could do the left hand alone, and that was fine. And I could do the right hand alone, and it was fine. But as soon as I tried to put the two together, it totally stopped working. So why does that happen? I think I've got a clue, and it has to do with an experiment you've probably heard of called Pavlov's dog. So in Pavlov's experiment, he would ring a bell whenever he gave a dog food. This is what we would call the kind of some stimulus. And then the dog would associate that bell with food. So then eventually you could just ring the bell and the dog would think it's time to eat. Now that's what you've probably heard about this experiment. What you may not know about Pavlov's experiment is that there was a problem. The problem was Pavlov would bring friends in to witness the experiment. And whenever he brought friends in, suddenly the association wouldn't work. The response we expected from ringing the bell wouldn't happen. How embarrassing would that be for Pavlov to bring in his friends and suddenly the dog doesn't salivate, right? And does that sound kind of familiar? Maybe like you learned a piece in practice and then you brought it to your teacher and suddenly you couldn't play it anymore? Or does it also sound like you learned left hand, you learned right hand, and you couldn't put it together? So what's happening here? This is what we call interference. That's what happens when we have a habit, we have a routine, but then suddenly the addition of a new environment, new information, anything that's new actually throws off that routine. So what can we do then when we want to add the left hand to the right hand? So let's say I'm trying to learn this piece hands together. I can do this first measure pretty well, mostly because it's just a couple of right hand notes and then I have a left hand solo. But on this second measure, shoot, I have the old pat your head and rub your tummy problem where my left hand is doing something different than my right hand at the same time. So what should I do? Unfortunately, the habit that I built with my right hand and my left hand are no longer there to help me. So I have to build a new one instead. And the best way I've found to build a new habit is to only give your brain the amount of information that it can process at once. Our brains are really good at holding 5 to 6 pieces of information at once, maybe. And so what I'll do is I'll identify 5 to 6 pieces of information in my measure, and I'll draw a box around that like this. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's stop there because this one actually has a couple of pieces of information on it, that chord, depending on how you look at it. So what I'll do is I will draw a line like this around those bits, and I'll practice just this much. And my rule is I want to be able to play that 5 times in a row correctly. So the first time might be kind of, where's that chord? Oh, there it is. It's a little bit uncomfortable. It feels really rocky. But as I repeat just that small section, it starts to get smooth and it starts to feel easy. Why? Because I'm building a new habit in there. I have a new cue and I'm getting a new response. And so then once I've got that section done, I'll add on the rest of the measure. I only have 3 more bits of information to add. Where am I? All right, and again, each time it's gonna be a little bit rocky. So I wanna challenge you, go find a piece that you're working on and go find a section that you can do this with. So then once I've done this measure, I'm gonna add on more measures. I'm gonna do this first one just to make sure, and then I'll do this next one, I'll do this next one, do this next one. And eventually it's kind of like, instead of trying to build a building out of one giant brick, I'm gonna build it out of a bunch of smaller ones. All these little pieces are gonna come together to help me play the piece. Well, hey, I hope you put this into practice and I'll see you on the next one.